Revan, Savior, Conqueror, Hero, Villain. Revan is a complicated character to say the least. He has been many things throughout his life. He was both a Jedi and a Sith. He is considered to be a selfless hero to some and a selfish villain to others. So what events led to Revan turning to the dark side, and why did he eventually stop being a Sith? That's what we'll be discussing in today's video. So our story starts out 2 years before the Mandalorian Wars. It was then that Mandalore the Ultimate was approached by a pure-blooded red Sith. He claimed to be the emissary of a powerful Sith Lord. Now Mandalore didn't know this, but the emissary actually worked for a powerful Sith Emperor named Vitiate. The Emperor had plans to invade the Republic but wanted to test their strength. The last time the Sith Empire tried to invade the Republic was during the Great Hyperspace War almost 1,000 years prior. That was devastating for them, so they wanted to be more careful and not blindly rush in this time. The Sith asked Mandalore to help him find a mask of an ancient Sith, which they eventually both did. He told Mandalore that his master had had a vision of the Mandalorians waging war in the galaxy, crushing their enemies until the Republic collapsed. The Sith also used the power of the dark side to manipulate him into joining the war. Now 2 years after this, Mandalore the Ultimate waged war on the galaxy, starting with the Outer Rim. The Jedi were reluctant to help out for a multitude of reasons. Firstly, they had suffered from a war 20 years earlier. It was also technically outside the Republic's boundaries, so they didn't really have to help out. And lastly, they were afraid of the effect it might have on the Jedi. They were worried that their younger generation might be swayed by the dark side. However, that didn't change the fact that many were dying while the Council discussed joining the war, which caused Revan to help those who were being attacked in the Outer Rim. He believed that the Jedi Council was wrong, and when they didn't sanction him to go, he went somewhat rogue, bringing many Jedi with him, including his close friend Alec, who was later known as Malak. As the war raged on, Revan and many of the Jedi slowly became affected by the lure of the dark side. Now don't get me wrong, they weren't Sith yet, however many speculate that the war caused them to compromise in certain areas, doing whatever it took to defeat the Mandalorians. Now eventually, the Mandalorians attacked the planet Terrace, which was inside of the Republic's boundaries. So the Jedi Order and the Republic decided to help out Revan, making Revan the leader of the Republic fleet. Thanks in part to the Republic Army and Revan's military genius, eventually after a long time of fighting, Revan was close to defeating the Mandalorian forces. Knowing that their defeat was imminent, Mandalore challenged Revan to a one-on-one fight. Revan accepted, and after a vicious and bloody battle, he defeated Mandalore. As he lay dying at Revan's feet, the power that the Sith had over him was broken, and Mandalore realized that he had been tricked. He told Revan about the Sith emissary and about the tomb of the ancient Sith. Revan and Malak visited the tomb, which led them into the unknown regions. They wanted to find out who had caused the Mandalorian invasion. Their journey eventually led them to discover the planet of Dromund Kaas and to Vitiate. Revan and Malak bribed a guard to let them into the Emperor's throne room, not knowing that the guards were partially under the Emperor's control and an extension of his will. They were being led into a trap. As soon as they walked into the throne room, the Emperor dominated their minds and broke their wills. They were turned into his puppets, and just like Mandalore the Ultimate, they were sent back to the Republic to invade it. They were instructed to report back to him once the Republic was crushed and defeated. If they failed, the Emperor would see just how strong the Republic was. However, Revan and Malak's wills were strong, and they were able to break free of the Emperor's control. Their minds had been so twisted and perverted that when they broke free, they forgot about the Emperor and thought that they were acting of their own accord. So they were still fully enveloped in the dark side. They considered themselves to be Sith, even going so far as to add Darth to their names. They just completely forgot all about the Emperor and the Sith Empire. Now during this time, Revan began to develop philosophies about the dark side and the Sith. He formed opinions about the dark side that were his own, not the Emperor's. These ideas would inspire many Sith down the years, such as Darth Bane, who created the Rule of Two. Revan believed that those who used the dark side were bound to serve it and had to fully embrace it. They needed to accept the change that the dark side brought in order to become more powerful. He also believed that it was foolish for a Sith to have more than one apprentice at a time. He believed that they should be ruled by one Sith Lord, and that their apprentice, or another Sith who was more powerful, should challenge them if they became weak. Following his own advice, Revan took Malak as his Sith apprentice. Now this began the devastating civil war, with Revan and Malak conquering planets and terrorizing the galaxy. They also started a Sith Academy and acquired many troops. A lot of the specific details about what happened during the war are unknown, but eventually the Jedi led a strike team to Revan's ship led by a Jedi named Bastila Shan. They made it to the command deck and defeated the Dark Jedi guarding him. Bastila challenged Revan, telling him that he couldn't win. Now at this point, Malak was tired of being Revan's apprentice and decided that this was the right moment to challenge his authority. Malak ordered his ship to fire at Revan's command deck. Revan was severely injured from the blast. This allowed Bastila to take Revan prisoner. There's no doubt in my mind that this is the only only way the Jedi would have been able to beat Revan. Despite the odds, Revan would easily have beaten all those Jedi. Okay, so this leads us to how Revan stopped being a Sith, and much like his transformation into a Jedi, what happened next was not his choice, at least not at first. The Jedi Council decided to mind-wipe Revan and give him a new identity as a Republic soldier. Now what happens next takes place in my favorite Star Wars video game, Knights of the Old Republic 1. Revan goes on a journey from a Republic soldier to a Jedi. Though his mind is a mess, he's eventually able to figure out the truth of his past and works with an unlikely crew to save the galaxy. As a Jedi, this new version of Revan was trained as a Jedi and learned the light side of the Force. However, we know from the Revan novel that Revan actually came to embrace both the light side and the dark side. Eventually, Revan, Bastila, and the others defeated Malak, who was still in charge of the Sith Empire in Revan's absence. Now, to be completely honest, I could talk about Revan all day, but that's how Revan became a Sith and a Jedi once again. Revan became a Sith because he was controlled by Vitiate and then stayed a Sith because he wanted to. He was then mind-wiped by the Jedi Council and became a Jedi once again. It's very different from a lot of the Jedi to Sith transformations that we see, such as Anakin's. A lot of what happened in Revan's journey wasn't his choice. Yeah, he started to embrace the dark side during the Mandalorian Wars, but he was brainwashed by Vitiate into becoming a Sith and then brainwashed by the Jedi to becoming a Jedi. Now I love how he was able to pull through, and both of these experiences led him to embrace both the light side and the dark side. I think it adds a lot of depth to his character. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. May the Force be with you all.